Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tennis Talk. Today we are changing up the format. I'm going live with some amount of trepidation. So today I was planning on talking a little bit about tennis strings and restringing and all the options and some chat about the history of tennis strings, and then patch in a friend of mine for the guest in a bit. So welcome. This is my humble abode here. Shout out to Derry Dillon, who does all my artwork. Check him out on Facebook. He's got some cool work, as you can see it there. First time I've worn a hat in about 20 years. My hair's out to approximately here somewhere. So tennis strings. Pretty cool how it all started back in the 1870s when tennis was patented, lawn tennis as we know it, by an English gentleman whose name escapes me. He was in search of the ideal material to be used as string in tennis rackets. And he heard about this man in France called Pierre Babelot, who was making strings for violins and other musical instruments, I think. So he went down to him and he asked him, would he have a go at producing something that would work well in tennis rackets? So, long story short, natural gut string, which is essentially the intestines of generally cows, I think sometimes sheep, but mostly cows. Vegans, see you later, tune in next time. And it's kind of unusual despite all the technology and research that's been done in the meantime. Natural gut strings are still by far the nicest to use, most playable, huge amount of power, forgiveness. And if you've never tried natural gut strings, I definitely check it out. It's a pretty cool experience using them. There's this amazing kind of, if you hit the sweet spot, there's this ping that you hear and feel, and it's pretty cool. Problem with natural gut though is, one, it's expensive. Two, it doesn't last too long, especially if it gets wet. And so a country like Ireland, very few people using it, but I definitely would give it a go once if you're a keen tennis player and want to try something different. So natural gut. Sorry, I have my notes here in case I completely forget what I'm talking about. In terms of tennis strings in general, I like to divide the strings into two broad categories, so hard strings and soft strings. So soft strings would include obviously natural gut, and then the other synthetic guts, including multifilament. They are all generally softer, more powerful, more forgiving, more pliable, less durable. But for most players, especially the younger players or older players who kind of need a softer string because they wouldn't be strong enough, generally you'd go for natural gut or multifilament or basic synthetic gut. Hard strings essentially are polyester strings or monofilament. Another word used to describe them. They're hard, very durable, they test to kind of report that they give you 20% more spin than that group of softer strings. Kind of introduced to the game basically by Gustavo Kuerten at the French Open, and players were reporting that they couldn't contend with him. It just felt like his ball was much heavier, harder, more loopy and heavy. They've been in vogue ever since. The company Luxolon, pretty much everyone agrees they produce the best polyester string. And what's cool about them is because they're very wiry, they can be cut and shaped into almost whatever shape you want. So most of them won't be purely cylindrical or circular. They'll be cut so that they're nearly, could be triangular, like Selinko Hyper G, or octagonal. I I think Babylon European Blast is octagonally shaped. Plus, they can be manufactured in a way where they've small grooves or indentations, and all this is basically to grab the ball more, to allow the player to generate more spin. So yeah, they're the two main categories. But I suppose what's happened over time is that players have experimented with both types of strings, and what's happened is, I'd say most players now, most decent players, will mix the two. So they'll have polyester in the mains for your spin control, and then a softer string in the crosses to kind of counterbalance the hardness of the polyester string to give you a bit of the best of both worlds. So yeah, they're the general string types. Another question you often hear is people ask is how often should you get your racket restrung? The most popular rule of thumb is that you should get your racket restrung as many times a year as you play per week. So if you play twice a week, you should probably get your racket restrung twice a year. But a lot of people, I think, especially Irish people, for some reason, they're not really into the technology of strings. And I know in my local club I can see people using strings that have never been changed. They have the original stencil on them, and those same players are quite often the players you see with the big tennis elbow clasps on their arm. And one of the reasons why strings should be changed more frequently than people think is that they go quite dead over time. They're generally elastic. So if you imagine an elastic band stretched out and pulled and held for years on end, it becomes quite brittle and it loses its kind of feel and responsiveness. So yeah, I suppose while we're on tennis elbow, if that's an issue for you, well, the most important thing is the weight of the racket. So you could well be using a racket that's too light, potentially way too heavy. But the other thing is the string, so you definitely want to be avoiding the polyester strings and using a softer multi-filament, ideally a natural gut, or even a synthetic gut. And I would recommend stringing your racket at a lower tension, so maybe around the 46 to 50 pounds. If you've kind of any kind of arm issue, especially tennis elbow. And use a thinner gauge string. That's another thing a lot of people don't know about, is that string come in different gauges, as in different thicknesses. Generally, the thinner the string, the more playable. It's hard to describe. It's just a nicer feel, kind of easier on the arm. The problem is if you go too thin, the string will just break too quickly. Yeah, so what else is there? Yeah, that's basically my summary of restringing. In terms of restringing machines, there's a wide variety of them. Ideally, if you're paying somebody any decent amount of money to get your racket restrung, they should be using an electric machine. They protect the racket more, and the tension outcome will be much more accurate. So yeah, I think that is basically it. I'll keep these little tutorials short and sweet, and I'll try and patch in a friend now. Okay, so we have Ulysses Ryan Flynn, man with a tongue twister of a name. He's joined in to do the quiz. Ulysses, how are you?
Oh, good, hanging in there.
Good man, good man. Are you hitting any balls at the back garden or doing any of these challenges?
No, not at the moment. I was asked to do it today, but I said no, I was just going to do a bit of fitness and just chill out. And sure. I used the 2 weeks or however long we're in lockdown just to kind of recharge the batteries.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's all good.
Okay, so you're going to have a crack at the quiz. The leader's on 8. And
cool.
Last place is on 2. So here we go. Question 1. Can't even read my own writing. What is the name of the recent documentary that came out on Amazon Prime about Andy Murray?
Resurfacing.
Wow. What is Nadal's wife's name?
Francesca.
No.
Grand.
Give me a surname.
Short of Siska, but
yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, surname.
Grant. Yeah.
Surname.
Sorry.
Surname.
Perella.
Yeah, I'll give you that. 2 out of 2.
Grant. Cool.
Okay, next one. Spell. Don't worry about the first name, but Felix Auger Ali Aliassime. I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah. I saw AUGER hyphen.
Yep.
ALLIASIME.
No, 1 L and 2 S's.
Damn.
Yeah. Spun lucky.
Yeah.
What racket does Ashley Barty use?
Yonex.
No. Head. 2 out of 4. You're still in the mix. Where is... Oh no, I'm doing all these difficult to pronounce effing names. Where is Basil Ashvili from?
Ashvili?
Yeah.
He's from Georgia.
Good man. So you have 3. What tennis strings does Roger Federer use?
He uses a gut. I just know he uses a gut. I'm not sure what type of brand he uses.
Well, he uses a mix, natural gut and Big Banger rough.
Oh, grand. Okay. Don't take it.
You might get a half point, but we'll see.
Grand.
Where is Tennis Sangren from?
Oh, he's from the States.
Sorry. What state is he from?
Oh,
and the clue's in the question.
He's from the States, yeah.
The clue's in the question.
Yeah. I know he's from the southern states. I'm not sure. So I'm just saying, guess Florida?
No. I said the clue's in the question. Tennessee.
Oh, grand. Okay. Yeah.
What country has 2 women in the top 10 in the world?
2 women in the top 10?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to guess Russia.
No. I don't know if they've any.
Oh, really? Okay.
America. USA.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah. Is it the one that Kenan and someone else?
Yeah, you know your one, Serena Williams.
Oh, yeah, heard of her. Right.
This was all going so well. Now you might be a contender for bottom of the board.
I know.
Next question.
With the shark.
Yeah, no. Who is the Irish Fed Cup coach?
Yvonne Doyle.
No, John McGahon.
Oh, grand.
Yeah. Last question. What is the very last word of James Joyce's book Ulysses?
I shouldn't really know this.
Oh, you should know. Even I know that.
Yeah.
Remember the interior
I'm
monologue?
Yes, something like Odyssey or something.
No. Yes.
What's yes is?
Yes
okay.
is the answer.
Okay.
Gee, whoa. You could be on 3. I think you're only on 3.
I think I am.
Well, you beat me. I got 2 in my own quiz, so
Right.
at least you don't have that embarrassment. Right, we will wrap it up, and thanks for coming on, Yuli.
No worries.
You're a
dude.
good
My
man.
pleasure.
Good man. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
good.
See you,
Cheers,
folks.
dude.